It is almost ritualistic for a first timer or for someone learning a new programming language to write the Hello World program. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Open up your new text editor. We're gonna close that for now. We're gonna save this file as hello world.c. And now we have a C file. I'm gonna type everything in and then I'm gonna walk you through what it does, and then we're gonna compile it, we're gonna execute it together. Coding. All right, now let's take a look at what's going on here. We have the hashtag, which is a reference to the preprocessor. The preprocessor prepares and fetches everything needed for compiler to execute the program, and the include is telling the preprocessor that we want to include something. And what is it that we want to include? It's this thing called studio.h, which is basically standard input output.h. Standard input output is a library which is already present in C, wherein we can use stuff like print statement, or we can take in inputs from the program. And this is what's letting us do that. Now, if you see the H over here, that means it's a header file, and the header is referencing the entire library so that we don't have to write the entire standard input output library in this program. We can just reference it. So it's like a link between the studio library and our current program. That's out of the way. And the brackets are just syntax. You kind of just have to memorize it. Now, this line over here, the int main void brackets curly braces. Let's go through that. The int stands for integer, and it's basically saying that the function's output is going to be integer. Our function here is main, and main is a special function because it sort of executes automatically without you ever trying to execute it. So every time you define a main function, which you should, then it's going to execute it automatically and you don't really have to call it. Now the void is basically telling the compiler that the main function is not going to be taking any arguments, sort of like my X. Nothing to input into the main function that it's going to mess around with, right? The curly braces is everything that's going to be executing inside the main function. So as long as something is inside the curly braces, it's going to come under the main function. The printf statement over here, the printf it's also a function like the main function, but sort of the print function is we're just telling it to print something, and the F stands for formatted, so it's just going to format the stuff nice and neatly. And then we have backslash n, which is the new line. It's typing everything after this in a new line. You can't really do this in C. You have to define it that you want it in a new line using the backslash n. And then we have this semicolon over here, which is telling us that this is the end of this function. The function is running, it's running till here, and then its work is done. Similarly, let's get to return 0. Remember the int we talked about earlier over here, the return 0. If the program executes successfully, we are going to get 0. If it does not execute successfully, it's going to return 1. Now, you might be wondering, how do we run this? How do we get it to work? You can't just control save your way and then how am I supposed to run this code? Well, you need to build it using the compiler. You need to build an executable so that you can run it. And the way you do that is using the terminal. You can use the inbuilt terminal if you have one, or you can just use the one that comes with a desktop. I'm going to use the inbuilt one in this case. So we're going to call the compiler, in C's case, it's GCC. And we're going to tell it to output a file by typing in -o, and we're going to name the file of the new executable that we want to make. I might just call it hi. Where do we want to output it from? It would be this code over here, and the name for this code is in a file called helloworld.c. Once we execute, you will see that we have built a new file over here called hi. We have to run it. You can do it in a system terminal, but you need to make sure that you're in the right directory for it. So the way you run it is /hi. That's it. Once you run that, there you go. It tells you hello. Now you can change this up. You can be like, hola, And now if I try to run this, look at what happens. It still gives me hello because I haven't really updated it. If I rewrite it, and then if I run it, it's going to tell me hola. And that's how you run your first C program. Adios.